Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to Historian Radio's Echoes of the News, and I am Muhammad Hussain Qazi, and these are today's headlines from the past. On this day, the 1st of January, we begin with marking New Year's Day. So, once again, a very happy New Year to all our listeners and viewers. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on this day, the 1st of January in 1583, German and Swiss states introduced what is now remembered as the Gregorian calendar. While it was used throughout the world then and now, several countries adopted it at a later stage. For instance, it was adopted by England in 1752 and by Russia in 1918, and Greece adopted it as late as 1923. A fascinating moment in the history of the world and time as we know it. Moving forward, on this day in 1772, the first traveller's checks were introduced by the London Credit Exchange Company. They were guaranteed against theft and could have been used in up to 90 cities at the time. A fascinating moment in the history of travel. Moving forward, on this day in 1808, the importing of slaves into the United States of America was halted, a giant step taken by the American society and government at the time in the long road towards not just civil rights, but also towards the discontinuation of slavery in America. Moving forward, on this day in 1901, the Commonwealth of Australia was established by Edmund Barton as Prime Minister. Well, it may not have been established by him, but he was the first Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Australia. On this day in 1901 did this come into effect. Moving forward, and in 1947, Britain nationalized the coal industry, followed by the railways in 1948 and the steel industry in 1951. This would therefore make the United Kingdom a semi-welfare state. Policies of this sort were introduced under the Labour government of Clement Attlee. And lastly, in 1959, on this day, the 1st of January 1959, Fidel Castro overthrew Batista, or by his full name, Fulgencio Batista, in his revolution in Cuba, thereby establishing Cuba as a communist country. This would be one of the most significant moments in the history of the Cold War. And one final honorable mention in today's headlines. In 1975, on this day, John Ehrlichman, H.R. Haldeman, and John Mitchell were found guilty for obstructing the course of justice for their part in the Watergate affair, which would have been the last nail in the coffin of the Nixon presidency. And on that note, we conclude today's headlines of the day. And now we move on to our much awaited section of where we remember the births and deaths of famous figures from the 19th and 20th centuries and sometimes earlier. Born on this day in 1735 was Paul Revere, American patriot famous for his ride from Charlestown to Lexington, and even more famously remembered for his famous quote, "The British are coming." He became one of the iconic faces of the American Revolutionary War. Going forward, on this day in 1895, J. Edgar Hoover, American lawyer and the head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, from 1924 to 1972, was born on this day in 1895, the 1st of January 1895. He established the world's largest fingerprint file and crime detection laboratory. And alongside him, in 1912, Harold Kim Philby, British traitor who became a Soviet agent in 1933 and then joined British intelligence together with Burgess, McLean, and Blunt, was born on this day in 1912. He passed top secrets to the Soviet Union. In 1894, Heinrich Rudolf Hertz, German physicist who discovered radio waves, would breathe his last. He is commemorated in the system of measurement of sound, which is called Hertz, named after Heinrich Hertz himself. And on that unfortunate note, we conclude today's headlines of the day. You were watching and listening to Historian Radio's Echoes of the News, and I am Muhammad Hussain Qazi. And stay tuned to our other series, Defense Review and Crossroads, which shall be coming to you with new and interesting updates on current affairs tied with our go to source, human history. Good night.